Welcome to TipTea Podcast. I'm Robert, and I'll be your host tonight. Joining me, as always, is the lovely Layla Ziadich. And tonight we have a special guest with us, Miyonnee Hickman. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing good. I'm so excited to have you on today. Layla and I are very excited to have you on. Let's just dive right into this. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first, I am super excited to be here. Thanks to you and Layla for having me. My name is Miyonnee Hickman. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a community, I work for the Community Wellness Project. I'm an intervention specialist as well as a community health worker. I'm also an advocate for sex worker liberation. Where I also work with Moho Justice Coalition, and we're trying to get sex work decriminalized in the Missouri area, also destigmatized. And I do a host of other things, but I mean, like, that's really what brought me here. So we'll just leave it at that.
So, I want to ask, like, how you got started in the sex work industry. I'm always like really curious, and like, can you kind of like explain how you got into sex work, and also kind of give us the ins and outs? Because a lot of people that are going to be listening to this episode probably have like zero clue as to what sex work is.
Well, sex work is when you exchange money for sexual favors or just, I mean, really pretty much it's not, I won't even say sexual favors because some people don't have sex. So, let's just get that understood now. Just because you're a sex worker does not mean that you're having sex per se or exchanging sexual favors. Like you might give a massage and, they will consider you as a sex worker, or you can be a stripper. Even though you're dancing naked, that's still not performing any sexual acts. So, but you're still considered a sex worker. So I just want to get that clear now. When you hear the word sex worker, it does not mean that everyone is just out here having sex. I got started into sex work in 2010. I lost my best friend to, I lost my best friends to complications of AIDS. Back in 2010, I was completely clueless as to what HIV and AIDS was back then. So it made me, when he passed, it made me get into my passion for what I'm doing now, which is intervention specialist. We do HIV, STD outreach and prevention. But after he passed, like I went through like this really dark, I just gave up on everything, like on life, on jobs, on school, on, living, on everything. And it was like I started doing a lot of stuff that I told myself back then that I would never get into, far as like sex work, drugs, like the ballroom scene. Like I was into ballroom, but I wasn't really into ballroom like that at the time. But it just I just needed a distraction. So I just started doing anything that would keep my mind occupied, from being depressed and thinking about, my best friend all the time. So I started doing sex work in 2010. I saw my friends and I was like, all of my friends, they were doing it because I was meeting a lot of people from around everywhere and they all were doing it. And I was like, oh my God, like y'all make so much money and y'all don't go to work. Like y'all can travel anywhere y'all want to travel and go to every hotel. And it's like they were just living this fab life. How can I be down? And a lot of people think that you are forced. It's not sex trafficking. I was well past 18 when I started. I was 22, I believe, and when I did start performing sex work. So yeah, I asked, like, I'm like, can y'all show me how to, show me how to do what y'all do? And they were like, at first they were very hesitant, and just like the same reason why I'm hesitant to, get people started into it now, because they were like, you are so talented, you can sing, you can do hair, you can, you can do this, you can do that. Like, are you sure that this is the life that you want, or this is the route that you want to take?
So, when you say like you are hesitant now, like if say somebody came up to you and they said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing sex work," what would be some of the reasons why you're hesitant to
Because for me, sex work, okay, for me, sex work, when I started sex work, first of all, it wasn't like Moho Justice Coalition, what I do now, and like the advocacy for sex work and all of that stuff back then was not. Like people back then, people wanted it to be very private. It was very, it was very secretive. It wasn't like a big thing. And like, so that's what was instilled in my mind. Um, and to some people, it was like, I don't do this because I want to. Some people did it because they had to, and if they didn't want to get, like if you had other qualities or other traits or other things that you were better at that you can do, like go out and like, I don't mean to sound like, weird or anything now or mean, but like back then it was like, girl, get out and get a job, but now I understand sex work is work. You know what I'm saying? But back then it was just like, girl, you can do this. I know that you're capable of, I know that you can speak well. I know that you can do customer service, or I know that you can do this, instead of just leaning into sex work. Now, I wouldn't just say, hey, go do sex work. I would try to exhaust every other option first. And then if you weren't, able to, you know, work up, as people say, regular job, and I'm doing the air quotes, as people would say, a regular 9 to 5, or like a regular grocery store, call center, something like that is what people consider regular jobs. Um, like I said, I would try to exhaust every option first before I lead you into sex work, because it's really not, it's dangerous, first and foremost. You're dealing with a lot of random people, whether it's in your home, it's in your hotel, like it's dangerous, and you're going to meet some weirdos. You're definitely going to come across some weirdos. So I always encourage you to never work alone. That's rule number one. Never, ever, ever work alone if you are going to do sex work. Never, ever, ever work alone, especially if you are a woman or transgender woman or whatever. If you're a woman, don't never work alone.
if you're saying don't work alone. So like how does that work? Do you bring somebody, like you just have somebody come with you?
Yeah, like either, like, say for instance, like me, I like to work out of my house or a hotel or something like that. I like to be in charge. I don't really like to go to people. So if someone, like, say for instance, if I had a client, I would have someone here with me. Like I would either have them hiding in my room or in the bedroom, I mean the bathroom, or something like that. Just have someone here. Now sometimes they don't have to hide. Some clients are okay, with people being here. But sometimes, just for my safety, I like to have somebody here, or my neighbors know, like, hey, I'm about to have somebody over. So just be listening out. If y'all hear a loud noise or hear me, say a yell or something, just be paying attention. So, like, I got it good because I got neighbors and they all know what I do, and they all know, like, hey, I got somebody about to come, and so that's all I got to say is, I got somebody about to be here. Just look out for me or listen out for me. And they already know what's up. So, just don't work by yourself is what the first rule that I would say.
On that, I just have a question, kind of talking more about safety as well. How would you say that you encourage other kind of safety? So, like client, like, do you make your clients get tested, or is that something that, is, you know, what's the word that I'm looking for? Is there like a process that you go through basically to keep each other safe, or
It
how does that
absolutely
work?
it absolutely is. Again, I'm an intervention specialist. I do HIV STD outreach and prevention. I always have condoms. Always have condoms. I always encourage condoms. Now, it's crazy. It's not crazy, but when it comes to sex work and regular sex, like just having, you know, fun sex, I will always encourage condoms. But when it comes to clients, since you're seeing so many random people, I always push it harder. Condoms and, the lubricants and safe sex, I always push that hard anyway, but especially harder when it comes to sex work. What I do for safety, I don't see any clients unless they send me a picture. Like, and this as far as like policing, because sometimes you can get caught up with the police also, and that's also another way to stay safe as well. You don't want the police coming to your hotel or be having to walk out through a hotel in cuffs. It's the most embarrassing situation ever in the world. Like, or you just don't want the police to come to your house, and lock you up. So I don't see anyone without them sending me a private picture first, which is a picture of their private parts, because if you don't send that to me, either you just don't want to send it or you're a police officer. And either way, I don't care, because if you don't come, there's going to be plenty of other people that's going to call my phone, and they're going to come and they're going to send the picture. So, I don't make a big deal out of it. I try to stay as neutral and calm as possible. I never upset the clients or anything like that. So I always screen them, like make them send me a picture, a private picture, and a face picture, just so I can know who I'm seeing. And then also so that I can know they're not a cop. I always, always, always encourage condoms, condom safety. And then I also do HIV tests. I have them here at my house. So if I say something to you about it and you're comfortable with, taking the test, then I will definitely provide the test for you myself. That's the plus of being, doing what I do. So I can provide the test for you myself. I always examine, the private parts before I do anything, just to make sure, even though I'm using a condom, there's other things like, you can get that doesn't necessarily involve a condom. So, or the condom usage. So I always check first, make sure there's no sores or bumps or anything like that down there. If there is, I will turn them away. I don't care how you feel about it, because my safety and your safety is, the number one priority to me, but especially my safety. Um, so yeah, that's the way that I stay safe. I use condoms, I screen, um, and if they want the test, then I give them the test. If not, then I still provide the services. If they like the check come out clean, like with my eye, the vision check and all of that, I just use condoms and take extra precautions if they don't want to get tested, because people not wanting to get tested doesn't always mean, hey, I got something. It's some people are really scared or just don't trust you or whatever the case may be. But I follow every safety measure possible.
Can I ask, do you discuss any of this like with your family at all, or do you have close friends that, do you have a good support system behind you?
I absolutely do have a great support system. First and foremost, me and my mother are like, my mom had me when she was 15. So we basically grew up together. I was the only child for 10 years. So it was me and her for a very long time. And one thing that it's just me, her, and my little brother. And one thing that we always, have stood firm on is no secrets. Absolutely no secrets, because any of us would hate for anybody to be able to come up to my mom or her child or her kids and say, your mama doing this or your daughter doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how bad it is. My mom knows every single thing that I have done, that I do. If she likes it or not, I'm grown. It's nothing that she can do about it, but she does know. So that, like if anything was to happen with me doing sex work, you wouldn't be able to come to her and be like, oh, well, your daughter she was hoeing and got killed, or something like that. She'll know, okay, she was doing sex work and, one of the clients killed her. She knows. So it wouldn't be a surprise. She knows everything. So I have all the support. My brother, like my family, I'm very transparent. So I'm an open book. Like, I talk about any and everything about my life. So it's really no secrets, not with just my family, but just like period at all. Like, there's absolutely nothing about me that you won't know unless I don't want you to know it. But yeah, I'm very transparent and I have a really good support system. My mom and my little brother being the biggest support that I could ever have. It wasn't always like that, but over the years they grew to gradually accept everything that I do and, just live with it. And me and my mom, like, we talk about it all the time. Like, we make jokes about it. She's like, girl, you got a little client, like we make jokes about it all the time. So, she knows that I'm safe. And that's one thing that she has never had to worry about. She knows that I'm always safe. I have always been one to get tested, always been one to use condoms. Even when I do slip up sometimes, I still, go get tested regularly to make sure, okay, girl, I slipped up. Now let me make sure I don't do it again. And let me go get tested just to make sure I'm cool and that the other party is cool too. So yeah, she never ever has to worry about me being safe. The only thing she worries about is her Black transgender daughter being Black and transgender in America. That's the only thing that she really worries about. But other than that, she knows everything, and my family does also.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you really do have a great support system there. I'm curious, when you mentioned that it wasn't always as supportive, were there certain milestones that happened? What kind of caused the change for your family to open up more? Do you want
Oh,
to, if you feel
absolutely.
comfortable speaking about that?
Oh, yes, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. Um, So I was forced out of the closet by my little snitch brother when I was 15. He saw me kiss my boyfriend, so he told my mom, like, "Hey mom, I seen," and my government name is Darren. So he was like, "Hey mom, I seen Darren kissing a boy." So it was at that moment where I was just like, "Oh, I'm so tired of trying to fight this, and I'm so tired of trying to hide it." So I came out. And I came, like, as he told her while we were eating dinner, I literally told her immediately after, like, "Yep, like, it is true." And, she told me, she was like, I accept you, but I'm not going to accept it. So as soon as I came out, I instantly started dressing, I won't say started transitioning, but, in other terms, I started wearing girl clothes. Now I know better terms, but back then they put it as, "Oh, you started wearing girl clothes." So I didn't start transitioning. I just started wearing girl clothes, and that was it. Like, I still had hair, facial hair, all of that. I would wear girl clothes, and like my little brother was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, what's going on?" Because me and my brother are 10 years apart. So I'm 34, he's 24. Back then, I'm 15, he's 5. So he's like, "Okay, what happened to my brother?" Like, why is my brother wearing girl clothes? And why is my brother wearing lashes? And why is my brother doing hair? So
Why
it
is
was
my brother
extremely,
so much more fabulous than I am?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it was extremely hard for him at first because he was a baby. He didn't really know. As he got older, and even with my mom, like, she'd be like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you wearing?" Like, "Come on now, don't come to my job like that." So it was really like, I'm like, "Dang, I know you said that you wouldn't accept me, or accept this, but you said you would accept me, and this is me. So I'm not gonna change because now I'm free." Like, oh my God, I was free. And it felt so good to be free and actually be and dress how I wanted to dress and be who I wanted to be. And I would say it was probably like a good year or two before they were like, "Okay, this my child, that's my sister, and I don't care what nobody say, I'm gonna have they back." My brother was getting into fights all the time because people was picking on me. So he was getting into fights all the time. People at my mom's job was like, "Oh, I know you seen Lila's son, da 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 da, I don't know what's going on, blah blah blah." And my mom said it took her one day, because at that moment when they were doing that, I left. I left home, and I was like 16 out with my friends, and I was never at home. And like, I'm like, I can't deal with that. I want to go somewhere where I am wanted and where I'm loved and where I'm comfortable. And not saying that my mom and my brother didn't love me, they just didn't understand. And my mom said it took for her to be at work one day, and I came up there and I was looking cute, and everybody always was like, "Oh my God, you look so cute," and da 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 da, and all of that. And then she overheard some of her coworkers talking one day, like, "Oh man, I don't know how she can deal with a gay son," and da 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 da, and da 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 da. And she was like, I don't know what it was, but it just made her snap. And she was like, "That's my baby." Like, no matter what, that's my look, my eyes watering up. Whew, okay. I'm not gonna do that.
It's okay. It's totally okay. I was smiling while you were talking about that just because obviously, mama's got to protect her baby no matter what. So it sounds like, yeah, yeah, that was kind of like a pivotal moment. Like she
Absolutely,
wanted to
absolutely.
protect you no matter what, whatever your truth was.
Yeah, so it was like, she was just like, "That's my baby, and regardless, like, that's my child." So it took her, for that to make her realize, like, no matter what you are, you're mine, and I love you. And I appreciate that. And it took for my brother to keep having all of these fights, and he just like, everybody's so concerned about how you dress now, and I just don't understand it. It don't make you still the same person, like, you still, at the time, you still my brother, like, you just look dressed different. That's all. And then after that, it was pretty much, it was cool. Like, we loved on each other, and we ain't stopped loving ever since.
I love that. That's amazing. Can I ask you a question in regards to, so you've told us a little bit about your sex life journey and kind of like how you utilize it as a business, but what are your thoughts on like virtual or like just dancing in general? Like some people consider that sex work, like you said, no sex acts. Like, what are your thoughts on that kind of how it's growing into such a different range of, representation? Do you get into that? Do you get involved with the virtual world? Do you feel like it's taking money away from, let's just call it like the people that are, that hit the ground running type of thing? Or what are your thoughts there?
I don't knock anybody that does anything. I feel like it's enough money out here for every last one of us, no matter what you do. It's somebody that's spending money in every single, form
Mm-hmm.
of way they can spend it. I personally wouldn't do like OnlyFans or porn or anything like that because my pride is just way too big for it. But I do like video shows like FaceTime videos and stuff like that. And that was mostly because of COVID. When I really started doing like the video shows because I wasn't working. Our job closed for months. So I had to have some income. That's when the sex work started back because I actually stopped doing sex work when I got hired at the Community Wellness Project because for me, I was like, I'm 31. I don't want to be just a sex worker forever. Like in the ballroom scene or in the scene, they would always say, if you become 30 and you still doing sex work, they will look down on you. And that would stick to me a lot because I don't ever want nobody to look down on me. I used to always care about what people thought about me. So I'm like, okay, I really don't want to do this no more. I'm 31 now. I did it. I'm old. They don't want to see me no more. They, as the clients, they want the new, young, fresh faces. So I was like, I wanted to get a job. So I got a job and I started doing that. And I didn't want to do sex work anymore, but the pandemic made me start back. And I started really getting into just FaceTiming and like just not videos because I won't send a video. I will send a FaceTime knowing that you can screen record or you can, screenshot. But to me, that's more safer than me actually posting on the OnlyFans that's going to always be on the internet. Like you can post a picture of me and yeah, it can always be out there, but it'll go away quick versus me having a video that's on the internet and it's always being there. That right there is just not for me, but I don't knock anybody hustle. I don't yuck anyone's yum. I support everyone. Get that money. Get that money. Get that money.
I'm sorry, did you just say you don't yuck anyone's yum?
That's exactly what I said.
That's my favorite thing ever. Oh my God. Oh my
That's what
God.
we
That
say,
is
but
so iconic.
in
We're
our
gonna make that.
implementations, that's what we say.
We need to
I
make that
love
into a
that.
T-shirt,
Yes. And
please.
we'll donate the proceeds to the charity of your choice because that is
That is
amazing.
so good. That's so
Oh,
good.
thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Robert.
question. So,
Okay.
kind of jumping on what Layla was saying, like, where do you see sex work going in the next 5, 10 years? Like, where do you see it going? Where would you like to see it going? Like, what are your hopes with being in the coalition that is with sex work? Like, what are your goals and like hopes?
I see sex work. Sex work has been around for years before we know it, and I think that sex work will always be around. The thing for me is they're making it more difficult for sex workers to work by shutting down all of our sites and stuff like that, which make more people come to the streets, which also is a big problem for them. I hosted, co-facilitated a training with the mayoral staffing cabinet, the police and fire leadership also, and that was one of the about sex workers working on the streets in certain communities. But it's like y'all shutting down all our sites for us to work out of our homes or in the privacy of however we choose or see fit out of our home, somebody else's home, a hotel, or whatever the case may be. And so it's not giving, it's making it difficult. I see it always being around. I see, I mean, like, I don't know, but it's been harder since Backpage. But nonetheless, I always say, a hoe gonna find a way to make some money and a John gonna find a way to spend it. So no
Okay.
matter, and that's just how I always look at it. Like, cause it's like no matter what, even when Backpage got shut down, like y'all seriously, it was the craziest thing. Like I could be walking down the street and it'll just be people blowing their horns or people starting to just hit you up on anything, Facebook, Instagram. Like hitting you up on anything, Snapchat, TikTok. Hey, you want to make some money? And at first you'll be like, okay, is this for real? But then it's like, okay, well, Backpage was like the main money maker for everybody, and they shut it down, and it was just like, okay, where do we go next? Although it was other sites that you could work off of, Backpage was just the most lucrative one for most people.
Can you tell me more about Backpage? That's the first time I've ever heard that. I would
Oh,
love
I
to know
miss
more about it.
Backpage.
Okay, tell me more. So what was it and how did you utilize it?
Okay, so Backpage, it really was like like a site that you can pretty much go and do anything. You can buy clothes, you can buy shoes, you can buy cars, you can buy insurance, you can buy anything on there. But they also had like a section for like personals, which was like if you wanted to do personal hookups, if you wanted to do just meet people, like, and it was like cisgender women seeking women, men seeking men, transgender, however, however, whatever you needed to find, you could find it on Backpage. It was just like another Craigslist, but better to me. And you could post and you can put credits on there. It was really cheap to post your ads, like $1 or something like that in certain cities. So you can just load up your account with multiple dollars. You can post multiple times. Like now you have to wait. Like sometimes you gotta wait an hour to post. Sometimes you can only post once every 15 minutes. Backpage, you can post multiple times, spend as much money as you want, have as many ads as you wanted up. Like it was just the lick for sex workers and for everybody else that wanted to sell whatever they wanted to sell too. And then they shut it down because a lot of people were being sex trafficked. And I just also want to say that in no shape, form, or fashion do I condone sex trafficking or anything like that, just because I am a sex worker. Again, I was well above 18 when I started doing it, and I did it on my own. Nobody forced me into it, nor nobody asked me to do it. It was all choices that I made on my own.
I
And I
appreciate
miss
you
that
saying
page
that
again.
too. Yeah, and I definitely I definitely, wanted to touch on obviously trafficking is, this that's happening in the world now. Are there any, things that you've seen in your work or, heard through the grapevine about ways that people, get caught into that system? Or is there just rules that that you're like, we don't mess with this kind of thing, or we know to stay away from these type of people because it's too questionable, you're putting your safety at risk? I know it's a very open-ended question, but I'm very curious because you could be helping somebody who could be listening now who is just new to the game and doesn't know.
Absolutely. I have never personally seen like any, sex trafficking or any signs or anything like that. Um, so I can't really speak to it, but I know for sure that if I was to see it, I would definitely be one of the ones to be like, okay, look, this ain't gonna happen, and how can we stop it? Because I'm definitely not with. I watch a lot of Law and Order, and I think that Olivia Benson is my auntie, and Elliot
Yes.
Saber is my uncle. So I definitely am not into that at all. So I really can't speak to it, but I would just say, please be of age if you're doing sex work. Please, 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 for your safety and the client safety, please be of age while doing it. Because, and I know that that might be difficult for some people because some people are young and they are on their own and don't have means or ways of making ends meet. Um, and I mean, I really don't know what to say because it's like I want to say don't do sex work, but if you're surviving, then survive. I absolutely want you to survive. Um,
I have a question. I'm just going to keep
okay.
saying that all night. I have a question. When you have interacted with clients in the past, have they ever made you show them your ID?
No. I've never
No.
had a client make me show them my ID. If anything, I have clients that are scared that I'm gonna tell their spouse or something about what they're doing. And like I tell people all the time, if you don't come to my house with any problems, I don't care who you are, what your life is. I don't care about your wife, your kids, your family. And it sounds mean, but it's really real. I really don't care about any of them unless you do something wrong to me. And then it's fair game.
I
But
mean, I
other than
get that because
that,
it's none of your business. Like,
yeah,
like,
absolutely. Like it's none of my business, but I'm always upfront. Now I have had some people like I've always well, I can't lie. That was about to be a lie. Um, okay, so the ways that like us transgender women would make a lot of money was post um cisgender women ads. So back in the day, I will definitely say that I was doing a very, very risky thing by posing as a cisgender woman. But I have always been upfront with me being trans. So, but I have had clients, and the crazy thing is that it was never any of my cisgender clients like that came from my cisgender women ad. It was always clients that came from my trans ad. And like some clients wouldn't read, they would just see your picture and just call you. and they didn't know that I was trans. I had two guys that came and they didn't know that I was trans. One, he threatened me really crazy. Luckily, I had somebody there, and like that's again why I always say have people with you, because this guy got really, really crazy. He didn't put his hands on me or anything, but he was like, "Oh, I'll kill you," and da 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 da. I'll be back. You didn't tell me. And I'm like, "Well, sweetheart, I'm advertised under a transgender ad. It's in the transgender section. So you not paying attention was absolutely not my fault. That's all on you, you know. But here's your money. You can have it all." You know, and get out, because I don't want any problems. I don't care about giving you your money back. I don't care about any of that. To keep problems down at my house, you can have it all back and just get out. You know, don't bother me and I won't bother you. But other than that, yeah, that's the only thing that I had problems like that.
Okay, that's really good to know. I mean, this is like shedding so much, I feel like, light for me, just because I never really knew too much about sex work, so it's really opening up my eyes to it. I would love to hear more about, Missouri in general. Please feel free to share how much, like, where Missouri's at, basically. So Robert and I are from Missouri. Like, where are they at in legalizing this? Do you feel like you have a lot of support? Is there support, like political support? Like, where are you guys at with that?
Now, as far as legalization, we aren't trying to get it legalized. We just want it decriminalized so that it won't
Okay, thank
be.
you for clarifying.
Yeah, absolutely. So that you won't be charged as a prostitute, you know, for, or, you know, charged with it if you got locked up or anything, or so that you won't be able to get locked up, you know, for performing sex work, because it is work. Um, for me, I chose not to work a real job because I was making so much money doing sex work. I could also do what I wanted to do. I can go where I wanted to go. I could live how I wanted to live. And I was making so much money. So, you know, it is a job. You have to stay up all night to get the money, or you know, you have to be on a schedule. You have to know, okay, well, from 6 a.m. in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon is the rush, so I have to be up between this time so that I can make as much money as I can, and you know, do what I got to do to get, you know, meet my quota and get to the next city. I totally forgot the question that I was just asked.
No, you're good. I was just kind of questioning, like, do you guys see support in politics at all in Missouri or the St. Louis
Okay.
region? Like, is there support to get it decriminalized? Where are they at with that? Because I believe New
Okay.
York passed some decriminalization laws.
Yes, they did. And so, okay, so we submitted, we as in Moho Justice Coalition, we were able to submit 100 days memo to the Mayor Tashara, and she is absolutely with and on board with decriminalizing and destigmatizing sex work. But it's just more, you know, we have to go through more. She's on board with it, and she's definitely with it. And we also have Cori Bush, Congresswoman Cori Bush. I've also spoke with Alderman James Page. We have his support, Councilman Rasheen Aldridge. So we have a lot of, you know, the main support, like from our mayor, our congresswoman, with it. But I'm not, at this moment, I'm not really sure like what's the process of it. But I know that it has been discussed and it has been taken into consideration, and that they are on board with getting it decriminalized and destigmatized. I'm just not sure exactly where it is right now. But we are also working closely with the mayor, and like I said, we facilitated you know, a training with the mayoral staff and cabinet, the police and fire leadership, on not just how to treat, respect and treat all people, but more important, well, not more importantly, but mostly, you know, the LGBT community, how we always have harassment or problems when we're being locked up or in healthcare, or you know, with the dead naming with healthcare, how to use proper pronouns, you know, just showing them how to respect LGBTQ plus people, and you know, how to accommodate us and our needs when we get in their custody. So we're just really, I'm happy, you know, that we do. I look, and I'm just now getting into politics, y'all. I last year posted a status. Oh my God, and it went like so crazy because I've never voted in my life for presidency. Um, I was considered a felon for a while, so they didn't allow us to vote. And when Obama ran, I wasn't able to vote, and it kind of made me feel a type of way. But that still wasn't like the reason why I never voted. I just really didn't care to. Like, I didn't care to keep up with it. I didn't care to watch politics. I didn't care anything like that. So I just recently started, like, when I made that post, I lost a lot of friends. I got a lot of backfire from it. I didn't care because I'm always going to speak what I want to speak. And it was just me speaking my truth. It wasn't saying that I'm never going to vote or, I just was like, I've never voted in my life. Whoop-de-whoop, and they just took it so left. But it made me, just seeing the backfire made me want to get more aware of politics, more aware of what was going on in my community, because everyone was so furious with me, like, girl, you're a Black trans woman and you don't know what this man trying to take from you, especially, like, you need to pay attention. So when I did, I'm like, okay, I see why everybody was mad, and then it made me want to get into politics more. So when I joined Moho, my few of my deliverables was to host 3 to 5 meetings with elected officials. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know nothing about politics, but it was one of my deliverables. So if I didn't know or not, I had to learn about it. And when I did, it was just so fascinating. Like, um, I spoke with Mayor Tashara a couple of times. I spoke with Congresswoman Corey a couple of times, Councilman Rasheen Aldridge a couple of times, James Alderman only, what's his name? Alderman James Page one time, but everyone else I spoke with on a couple of, we spoke with a couple of times, and they're super cool, first and foremost. Outside of being the mayor and the congresswoman, they're like super, super, super dope people. But they're definitely on board with everything that we got going on. And it's been really cool on my political journey.
That's really amazing because not a lot of people, myself included, get as involved as they should. And having people like you kind of on the front lines, I think will definitely put things in the right direction. I'm sure New York had pretty much the same thing. There were people out there who needed to represent and get to speaking to these, key decision makers. So I think that you're definitely on the good path. I did want to ask you in regards to the psychology behind, these, you call them Johns, who come and see you. Now, is it just males? Is it females? Obviously, like, why would somebody, and I'm not saying this with judgment, I'm just very curious, like, why do they seek out sex workers? Is it for companionship sometimes? Because you said sometimes it's not even physical. I just would love to learn more. Do you guys just hang out sometimes? Like, do you have clients like that? Or is it an intimacy?
For the most part, clients seek out sex workers because they have a fantasy that they want to see out. Sometimes it's about, well, with the trans women, I know it's mostly a fantasy, or it's what they like. Some people are bored in their relationships, their marriages, and they just want to do something fun. Some people are lonely, like they either were married a long time and lost their wife, and just want to be around somebody to talk to, or just pay you to be, like I've had one guy that really just wanted to just literally sit around me, and he paid me like $3,000, y'all, just to sit around me. He didn't care who was around. He just was like, I'm lonely, and I just retired, and I just wanted to be around you, and I was like, okay, so it's like, it's not always sex work, it's not always sex. Some people just, they either like, to them, they are like, their self-esteem is low and they can't approach women, so they feel like the what only thing they deserve is, I can only pay for sex, to get some companionship. It's like a lot of different things. So yeah, like I've had I've had guys that wanted me to burn them. I've had, like, with the cigarette, like I've had a guy come and just literally tell me to sit on his stomach and dump ashes in his mouth. Like, it's like you get weird requests, and to
Whoa.
you it might be weird, but again, I don't yuck anyone's yum.
No, we don't.
We don't yuck yum here. We don't yuck yum.
We don't kink shame.
Yeah, we don't. We actually don't kink shame here. That's like
I don't
But
at all.
that is that that blows my mind.
All right,
It
now I
is,
need to
and
know
then
what
he
the
paid me
weirdest shit you've ever
look,
done.
and then he paid me $800. Okay, so the weirdest stuff. He paid me $800 to smoke a blunt, sit on his stomach, and dump the ashes in his mouth. I had another guy paid me just to pee on him.
Okay.
I had another guy. I really haven't done, like, because it gets to a point where I'd be like, I'm not doing it. I had I had a guy that wanted to get burnt, like actually burn me with a cigarette. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. But I did it like once or twice and I was just so scared. But the satisfaction to me, I think my weirdest client was this guy and he brought like 150 rubber bands and he had me rubber band his penis and his balls, and he had me like just put as many rubber bands as tight as I could around his balls and his penis. The whole time he smoked crack while I did it, and I'm like, again, I don't yuck anyone jump. Do what you want to do. That's not my thing, but do what you want to do. But he sat there and smoked his crack the whole time and just had me rubber banding him. Paid me a very nice lump sum of money. And to me, that was the weirdest thing because I was so scared because I'm like, you about to die. Like it's turning purple. It's like it's cutting off your circulation. Like, and he's like, oh yeah, I love it. And I'm like, I am scared. I think I'm gonna go to jail or something happened to you. Like I was terrified, but I did it, and after a while, like it just got too much because I'm like, okay, either your thing gonna fall off, it's gonna, or something's about to fall off in a minute, and I just don't want it to be here. If you want to keep them on and going on somewhere, go by all means, go ahead. But I just don't want nothing bad for you to happen here. So yeah, I asked him to leave, but I really haven't done anything too weird. I've seen a few couples before. I never really went all the way through with my couples until this last couple that I had. I'm not gonna say all the way through, but we, managed to finish all the way and not have any problems. All the other couples I've seen, they got to fighting, all that crazy stuff about who liked me more, or I like them more. And I'm just like, look, I really don't like neither one of y'all. I just like the money. But y'all making a big deal out of y'all making a big deal out of nothing because I don't like neither one of y'all. I really just want the money.
Right.
And so, but I did have one couple recently, and they were amazing, both of them. Shout out to y'all. I ain't gonna say no names, but shout out to y'all. But yeah, like that's pretty much it. Other than that, like I call myself like I'm a hoe, but I'm not a ho ho. I don't never I've gotten penetrated literally a few times while doing this, and that's the biggest gag of all. Everybody would think, oh, you're a sex worker, you getting fucked, or you having sex, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting penetrated. I actually don't get penetrated for any amount of money. I will tell the clients up front, I don't get penetrated, and if you think you're gonna come here and be cute or have all this money and think, oh well, when I get there, I'm gonna be cute, and she gonna say yeah, or I'm gonna show her this amount of money when I get there, and she's gonna say yeah. Absolutely not. That was my one thing when I started doing this. Do not let your little hoe get used up. And so I didn't. And I can say out of 11 years, I've gotten penetrated 5 times, and it was only because I wanted to.
I mean, that's good that you have your standards. So, I mean, everyone should, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I look at it like this. I like to perform oral sex. So if I can get paid for it, why not?
Right.
Like it's people out here doing it for free.
Right.
They'll make fun of you for paying, for charging for your services, or if I was one of those type of people that, like to have sex or be penetrated, they would make fun of me for charging for that versus this out here doing it for free, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But, to each his own.
Right. Can I ask you a question about your personal relationships?
You can ask me anything.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for
You're
being
welcome.
so open and honest. I'm very curious, how does having this as such a big part of your life right now impact things like very close personal relationships, like being in, being in a monogamous relationship, if that's like your vibe? Do you look for that, or are you kind of open-minded, or?
Okay, I have always, always, always wanted to be in a monogamous relationship. Now that I'm older, I realize that I have never really been in a real relationship before sex work or after. I've dealt with a lot of guys, and I'm going to be completely honest. I've dealt with a lot of guys that were already in situations. So it was never me personally just having a person to myself. I was always sharing a guy. So it was like, and they were all DL. So it was basically, you're a secret. So my last relationship, it was like 7 years ago, and honestly, I just don't even call it a relationship because I didn't come to find out, I knew absolutely nothing about this person after a year. Like, I didn't know his real name. He told me he had no kids. He told me he was a certain age. He told me he didn't have a girlfriend. He had 5 kids. He was a different age. He was not only a girlfriend, but he was a husband. And it was like confusing to me because he spent every waking moment with me at my house. I spent nights at his house when he wasn't at my house. So he literally, like, it left no suspicions for me because we were always together. But, and then it was times like he sold drugs. So I knew, okay, go out, do your thing, do your drug, do your jugs, blah, blah, blah. I'm okay. I know you selling to a lot of girls. Okay. I knew, this nigga might be out freaking on somebody, but okay, that's fine because we were together, but we really weren't together. We were always together, but never really put that you my girlfriend, I'm your boyfriend. Like never put that on it. But you at my house every day. My mama know you, my brother know you. Like you my man. But I didn't know, and like I felt really dumb. So after that, like being with somebody for that long, we were together for a year. And like I didn't even know the man's real name. Honestly, I really didn't. He got locked up one day, and his wife called my phone like, "Hey, do you know such and such?" And I'm like, "Girl, who is that?" And she like, he go by this name, and I'm like, "Oh my god, no, I don't." And then I'm like, oh, it really broke my heart and it really messed me up. And what really made it even worse was when I told him, when he did get out of jail, I told him, like, hey, your wife called me. And it wasn't a trying to, he didn't try to hide it. He didn't try to apologize. He didn't try to do anything. He was just like, oh, well, what you say? And I'm like, well, I didn't say nothing, like I didn't tell her because I told her, I'm like, well, baby, why you calling my phone? If that's your husband, you need to be talking to him. Don't be calling me. Like I still had his back. And it would just mess me up like, nigga, that's what you think about? What did I say to her? If I told her your business or if I told her our business was what you thought about. So
Right. That
it really broke my heart, and I haven't really been in a relationship since then. I haven't looked for one. I just really been trying to focus on me because I feel like honestly, if you keep attracting dudes that's in relationship, there's something wrong with you. And if you keep, getting dudes that are just, like again, in relationships, it's something in you that you need to fix. Not saying it's all my fault, but it was something about me that I needed to fix, and that was me. I needed to find me again and just stop settling because I wanted to be in something and really appreciate and love on me before I could be able to give myself to somebody else. So that's what I've been doing for the past 7 years. I want a relationship, but I'm not rushing it no more.
Amen. Amen.
So, besides the sex work, give me a little bit about everything else that you do. About the HIV testing, because I know so many people that would love to hear this, especially in St. Louis. And it is, for me, like personally, so I am I'm on PrEP. I take Truvada.
Okay.
And I find it so it's such a fucked up system, like to go and get tested regularly and like go to your doctor and ask your doctor for stuff. And then the doctor that I go to and see right now is a straight man, so he was like, you're my first patient that I've ever had to put on PrEP. So like I honestly don't really know too much about it, and I need to research it. And it just kind of opened my eyes, and it's like I was talking to my husband about it, that gay people, lesbians, trans people, they all we all want or look for like doctors and stuff that are like us. And it's so hard to find people that you can connect with and like talk to and be like, yeah, I need to get regularly tested. I need to be on PrEP. I need to be doing this, and this. And it's such a fucked up system, like the healthcare system, and like trying to find that, especially being in the LGBTQ community. So I would love to hear a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I work for the Community Wellness Project. We're located at 906 Olive Street, Suite 904, downtown St. Louis. We're also in the Behavioral Comprehension Center in East St. Louis. And I've been there. It'll be 2 years in October. We do now. Our main thing is HIV and STD prevention. testing. We provide free confidential STI, HIV testing. We also provide free condoms. We also are not just solely geared towards HIV and STDs. Like, we're about the overall wellness of our community. We're a Black-owned agency, and we do like diabetes classes on how to live well with diabetes, how to live well with hypertension. Like if you're obese and you want to lose weight, like we have, resources on that. We also help, what I do, I'm actually a transgender intervention specialist. So I solely deal with transgender women. And then we have my brothers or my coworkers. I'm sorry, but we're all family. So my coworkers, like they deal with MSM, and we have other coworkers, like our caseworkers, they deal with, we have a cisgender woman there who deals with, the cisgender women. Like we have people for each and every spectrum. And again, like we do counseling, we do couples counseling. We also do interventions or implementations. Like I facilitate a TWIST implementation, which stands for Transgender Women Involved in Strategies for Transformation, where we teach transgender women living with HIV how to live well with HIV, whether it's financially, whether it's like showing them how to make resumes and dress for job interviews, how to speak when you're in an interview, apartments, like just how to live well with HIV, or just how to live well as a transgender woman, period. The MSMs, they do an implementation called D-Up, and it's basically the same thing, but it's for MSM men, and it's like an all expense paid retreat. We take you out of town, we drive you there, we pay for everything, your hotel rooms, your food, your entire stay for the weekend. And we just, teach implementations throughout the days of the weekend, and just all be in community with one another so that we can basically get down to zero. That's our thing, getting the numbers down to zero. If you already are HIV positive, getting you linked to care and keeping you in care, or getting, our numbers down to zero. And if you're negative, keeping you negative, whether that's PrEP or, safety, and just stuff like that. We're also doing community health work. And then with Moho Justice, like I said, we're doing the decriminalization and destigmatization of sex work. We also, do, like, we just had a boot camp where we trained, 12 people, and most of them were either LGBTQ sex workers or LGBTQ, or just a person that wanted to know more about sex work, and just wanted to know, like, we taught them social media training, and we're going to come up, we have this facility. It's not us, it's with Dr. LJ Punch. It's called the T, but one of our co-founders of Moho Justice Coalition, Indigo, works for the T also. So it's like a drop-in center it's a bullet related injury clinic downstairs, where if you have a bullet related injury, you can go there and get seen. And then upstairs is a drop-in center where, like, if you're a sex worker, they have a closet, they have a hair wash bowl, clothes, like a laundromat, a pantry where you can come get free food, you can come take a shower. It's a full bathroom there. However you need to, get yourself together, you can come talk if you need to, come and get tested if you need to. So I'm just all about community, helping community, and just trying to be the change that we need, because I honestly believe that it starts with us. Like, we won't be better until we be better. So, yeah, like, until we do better, then we can be better. That's how I look at it. And that's pretty much what I do. Like, professionally, I have a sauce business that I opened during the pandemic called 80s Crack Babies, Bonnie Beef, 80 Crack Baby Sauce. Y'all get y'all some because it's fine. I do hair, I sing, and that's one of my biggest things. I've been a singer since I could talk, and I just left Atlanta a couple of weeks ago in this competition, the Black Joy Experience. And we competed for $50,000. I didn't win, but it was an amazing experience. Shout out to BYP 100, Tyson and Jonathan, you guys, and Dee Dee, you guys were awesome. But yeah, like, I do a lot of stuff. I'm just really here to make everybody smile, make everybody happy, touch as many lives as I can, and save as many lives as I can. That's my life mission.
And is there anywhere that, like, any of our listeners or us can, like, yeah, like donate money and stuff, like, towards your work?
Absolutely. If you wanted to donate to the Community Wellness Project, you could come down to our offices. Again, they're located at 906 Olive Street, Suite 904, downtown St. Louis, across from Culinaria in the Castaneda building. You can actually come there and place your donations directly with our boss. Her name is Dana Williams. And for Moho Justice Coalition, if you wanted to donate there, you could you would either have to speak with J. Marie Hill or Indigo Hahn, and you can donate with them. Also, I'm not sure if there's like a Cash App, or I know that there is, but I'm not for sure what it is. But I know that you can they take donations if you just reach out to them. If you need any information, I can my page my IG is Miyonnee Satiq, MIYONNEESATEEK. My Facebook is Miyonnee Hickman, my name. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I will definitely respond back. My office number is 314-421-9600. Again, it's 314-421-9600. If you need to reach out to me, I'll make it I'm available. Even when I'm not supposed to be, I'm always available. They be like, you just work too much. And I be like, look, I can't help it. If somebody texts me at 3:00 in the morning and I see it, I'm answering. So I can't help it. It's just me. I'm always here for y'all. Please reach out if you have any questions, hit me up and I will be glad to answer them or help you.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I appreciate it. I know our viewers are really going to appreciate it. Thank you.
I am excited. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure. And this was actually the first interview that I've ever done.
You're a natural, so it was great.
People, I always would say, I don't ever want to talk. Like when they like, are you going to be on the news or do you want to do this? And I'd be like, oh, y'all can do all the talking. I'll look cute for y'all if y'all need me to, or I'll do some tests or whatever. But I do not want to talk. But I actually think I did good. And I really, really appreciate y'all so much.
No, you did wonderful, honestly. And thank you for everything that you do for your community. Because without people like you said, that community culture would not be there. So I think that that's very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Anything for my community.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for tonight. Thank you so much. Yes, and as always, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TipTea Podcast. And we'll be back soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, guys. Have a great night. All you listeners, have a great night. And like I always encourage you, go out and be the very best version of you possible. In every room that you enter, bring the very best version of you. And that's all I have to say.
I love it.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.